today from the University of North Carolina, Greensboro, specifically the Middle College with the University of North Carolina, Greensboro. We have a special panel, I guess I'll call it. We have a teacher and two students. We have Deanna Wynn, the teacher, and next to Deanna is Lili Gonzalez, and next to her is Jacqueline Murillo, both sophomores, as I understand it, at the school. So welcome to the Anatomy and Clay Learning System podcast.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Great to have you on. This all came about thanks to a set of photos that you posted on Twitter, which we really appreciate. Dynamite photos of some great building on the Anatomy and Clay Learning System, and we see some models behind you. But before we sort of get into all that, Deanna, if you would just take a minute and explain to us the middle college concept and tell us a little bit about your school. It sounds really cool.
Right. The Middle College at UNCG is a high school that sits on a college campus. Our students apply to come to this school. Our school has a health science focus. So as students are applying, most of them are interested in careers that will lead them into the health sciences field. We have about 250 students at our school. Many of our students will be first generation college students, which is appealing for them. It's appealing to their parents. They're able to take college courses as early as their freshman year. Many of our graduates can leave here with as many as 60 hours of college credit.
Wow.
So they are hardworking students, bright students, determined students, and they really want to work closely with health sciences, careers, not only nursing and in the medical field, but also looking into biotechnology, genetics, and furthering into human anatomy and physiology.
Right. So Jacqueline and Lili, I'm sorry, and Jacqueline and Lili, the options for you were to go to a quote unquote regular high school with probably thousands of students, or come to this school with 250 students. And what I've read online is a much better student to teacher ratio.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that choice?
Well, usually like looking into high schools, I didn't really know that the middle college was really an option until it was brought up by like my teachers, until it was like recommended and everything, like looking at my grades and looking at what I wanted to do. And I had no problem going to like my regular homeschool. It's just that it seemed really nice to be offered the opportunity to be able to go to such a school where you can build your credit like that. And it just offers you so many opportunities. So I just thought that it would be a great opportunity to take. Even if I didn't get in, it really didn't matter. It was just gave me peace that I at least took it. So.
Yeah. Jacqueline?
Same thing with Lili. I really wanted to take the opportunity that I got just because my siblings and my parents, like, they were really happy at me for the beginning part, like when I was like applying for it. And I just knew like it was gonna make them happy to like, come to such a school, like with me becoming like they wanted me to become a doctor, but I wanted to pursue like neurology. But I really like wanted to take up the opportunity that I was given because my parents didn't have that.
Wow. And so physically, when you say the high school or the middle college is actually on the campus, you mean you're literally next door to
Yes.
We're next door to the Department of Kinesiology here at UNCG. So our students, they take college courses. They walk around campus. They have college IDs. They're actually dually enrolled. So they have college IDs as well as a high school ID. So they are truly part of our campus. We are part of this campus here at UNCG.
That's great. Wow. So, Deanna, would you just talk a little bit about your own background? How long have you been teaching at the middle college, and sort of where were you before?
Right. This is my 21st year as a science educator. I've been here at UNCG for 2 years. Prior coming here, I've taught at other high schools for about 7 years, and I taught middle grades. I entered into education as a middle school science and math teacher. Um, and so being at this campus, I have a great opportunity to teach students that are driven, they're bright, they are truly interested. And even if they don't choose a health science as their career choice, a health science field as their career choice, the opportunity for them to be able to take college level classes such as sociology, psychology, maybe they're interested in a statistics class or an advanced math or another science class, um, is really a great opportunity for them to have access to free college credit. And really, in our, many of the students talked about paying to go to college. This can help knock out at least 2 years of their 4-year degree. And so that is one thing that drew me to this school. Um, I've had incredible opportunities. One opportunity, the teacher prior to me adopted the anatomy and clay system, and therefore I inherited it. I took the training, and it was something that I decided to continue to use with our students this year.
That's great. Wow. So your background in math, you said math and science at the middle school level has sort of expanded or not expanded, it's sort of been more focused lately on science. Is
Yes,
that
my undergraduate degree from Bennett College is in biology. And I've always had a love for science. And I'm telling students all the time, I want you to um, respect the scientific field, have a better understanding. Um, Even if they don't choose a scientific career, there's so much out there. Even I'm pushing them kind of, some of them into research science, realizing some of my students may not work or may not want to be around as many people, but they do well with delegation. They do well with that scientific thought, and research science might be a way for them, such as Jacqueline mentioned, she might be interested in neurology. So I'm really trying to have young people have a good scientific foundation, but a good understanding and a respect for the scientific field.
sort of about developing a mindset in some?
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's great. Wow. And why don't we I'll ask each of you, Lili and then Jacqueline, what are you thinking right now? I know it's a lot to ask a sophomore, but if you could write your dream ticket right now, what would it be?
And it's so hard to specifically say what like one major you would want to do because there's just so much that you can do here. There's a lot of majors. And like Miss Wynn said, like usually the students, there's no like it's not bad to not know what you want to do. Like it's okay. That's why we're here. That's why we're, building to find out what we do want to do and seeing if like health science is the path we want to take or if we want to just take the advantage of one of the other classes like math or anything. But for me, when I did come here at first, my freshman year, I did want to do psychology, but now looking into it and now from getting so much experience from other classes and just observing in general because you can observe so much here, I actually want to do anesthesiology, and I do want to get my degree in anesthesiology in order to become an anesthesiologist.
Great. Jacqueline?
For me personally, like I mentioned, I want to become a neurosurgeon for the brain, but looking more into it because for Ms. Wynn's class recently we were talking about anthropologists, and I took it more into like I wanted to get like more of a perspective onto that, so I want to look more into that and maybe see if I would like to become an anthropologist.
There's a lot of different directions that all this could go many, many directions. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Deanna, go ahead.
I was going to say our students take a minimum of 5 scientific courses while they're here. So they can take as many as 7 scientific courses at the high school level. And that doesn't include the college level courses. They can take additional college level. They could take college level chemistry or biology. But we do offer health science 1 and 2, nursing fundamentals, pharmacy tech, biotechnology, physics, genetics, human anatomy, and physiology. So students become very well-rounded in scientific fields. And I think that helps with their own scientific mind and the scientific thought and their own exploration, because like you said, it's hard to determine at 15 or 16 what you want to do for the rest of your life. So I'm really impressed with these young ladies.
For sure. Boy, it sounds like just a really tight group. You got 250 students. There's just a lot of, I feel a lot of focus. You all probably very much support each other on terms of it. There's not a whole lot of distractions around, what you're studying and what you're doing, I assume.
What do you mean by like distraction? Well, no, there's not really a lot of distractions because since there's so little people, there's like it's very easy for people to settle in their own different groups and their own different people. And honestly, the environment here is very like nobody's really paying attention to what you're doing. Everybody's kind of in their own space and everybody's in their own head space and everybody has their mindset on what they do come here to do and everything like that. So it's really just to mind your business and just, do what you want to do kind of thing. Because we're all working, like we're all here working in order to get our education, in order to find out what we do want to major in, if we haven't already figured it out.
Yeah, we really are a close-knit family. Our class sizes are very small. Most have less than 15 students per class. And so we, this is their third science course they've taken with me. So we have a small, close-knit family here.
That's great. What percentage of the students would you say do go on to finish their degree in a regular college setting, and what percent go off to work? Or do you have a feel for that, Deanna?
Mark, I don't, because this is my second year here at the college, but I will say that we do have many students that like to come back and share with our students their own college path, whether that is to go straight into a trade or go into a community college or a four-year institution. I don't know if you see here, we have 100% graduation rate. This is not an updated banner, but many of our students do go on to four-year colleges. And from what I've gathered in my non-scientific evidence collection is that they are completing those college degrees and are staying within the scientific fields.
Yep, that's great. So Deanna, when you did encounter anatomy in clay for the first time, what was your reaction? Did you scratch your head? Did you say, how's this going to work? Or did it sound like something that made a lot of sense to you? Right?
The teacher contacted me prior to me coming to campus. So she and I had a discussion, and this was out of all of her resources that she's used, this was the resource that she was most excited about. And so that was the first resource that she showed me. And of course, when I saw the skeletons and I saw the clay, I was like, wow, are kids really gonna do this? Our kids, we've pushed our kids so much into the technology world, especially coming out of COVID and doing so many things virtually. My initial thought 2 years ago was, are kids going to essentially want to play with clay, play with Play-Doh, if you will? And she assured me that I take the training and really take in the system. And when I did that and I presented to students, I got excited and they were excited. And I found that many of them had never used modeling clay before. So it was a learning curve for them as well. But I don't have any major classroom disruptions, but while they were working, they were very, very focused, very engaged, using the tools. And so I was very impressed that they took to it so well, given that they are so used to being on their laptops. So this was a good break mentally and creatively for them, which I enjoyed a lot.
Where did you take your training, Deanna?
I did my training here. I took it virtually.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I did virtual professional development last spring.
And how was that?
It was good. It was they sent all the materials that I needed for the training. It was boxed and shipped very nicely, shipped quickly. The instructions were very clear. It was a most of the day,
Yeah.
the session was, and so um, the presenters walked me through every step. Everything was labeled, everything was laid out, which I love. Especially sometimes as science teachers, when we inherit systems from other people, parts might have gotten lost. But when I reached out to Anatomy and Clay, they assured me that they would send me everything that I need to go through the professional development. And after the development, after the session, I was able to make connections with some of the tools that I had found with what the teacher prior had left for us. Um, so I was very impressed with how everything was packaged and laid out and labeled. That helped with my own anxiety because it was a new system. And as educators, as with anything, we like to try it out first before we put it in the hands of students. And so the professional development session offered me that time to practice and work through kinks and had me to reflect on how I would use it with my own students when I got them.
Yeah. So you just started using it last fall?
I just started using, well, I taught this semester, I'm teaching anatomy currently, so I started using it this semester.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And they have done excellent with it.
Can you, how are you using it? What sort of sections or systems are you?
Right. So we started out, Mark, with the nervous system. It was something that could get them into developing the lobes of the brain. Anatomy and Clay offered one of the free resources, the Alzheimer's resource. And so, as anything with science, I like to teach students the science as it relates to them is something they can relate to. Not we could talk about the brain all day, but how does it relate to maybe what they're experiencing or hearing? And so we started out with the Alzheimer's resource,
Yeah.
and we built from there. And that was able to for them to actually see the different lobes. And now when we talk about the hippocampus and add it to how that is affected with Alzheimer's disease, students were able to have that aha moment that we live for as teachers. So that is where we started. Now, after that, I asked the students, okay, do you want to continue? They were like, yes. And so then we moved on to the upper shoulder and, excuse me, the shoulder and upper arm section. And I had them go through and label the parts and add pins in so that they could go through and label. And so we started that. So the other beauty of Anatomy and Clay is that it is a continual work in progress. And so as we're building the systems, we are slowly putting pieces together. And
Yep.
so
For sure.
that's where we are currently.
Yeah. So let's start with Jacqueline this time. What was your reaction, Jacqueline, to seeing Deanna, your teacher, bring this system out, and what did you think at first, and how did you like it?
I was very excited just because at a very like early age, I used to play with clay all the time. I was a very hands-on person. So I really liked it because like and it also like gave me a better like overall view of like how the brain really works and like the details of when it comes to muscular system. And then the, and then we also did the heart as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
we did, sir. Thank you, Jacqueline. We also did the heart.
Great. You just built that separately by itself.
We built it separately. I had them build it separately so that they could build all the chambers
Right.
of the heart as well as the vascular system part of that. So,
Yeah.
and that was good.
Yeah. How about you, Lili? What was your reaction?
I was very excited. I mean, like Miss Wynn said, usually like she thought that we weren't gonna really take an interest into it since we've been so like used to doing everything digitally. And this is one of my like greatest actually I was excited for especially for this class is the reason I took anatomy because I really wanted to do something that was really hands on. And when Miss Wynn mentioned the anatomy and clay, it it just seemed like a fun like activity, and also while learning the different parts and the certain parts of the nervous system and muscular system, it also helped a lot. So
Yeah. Why do you think, and this is, I guess, to anybody, why do you think hands-on learning works so well?
because also, especially with this clay, you're making the parts by hand, so you're seeing how each part connects to which part and how it does function, how it eventually, everything comes together. Because in the anatomy in clay, like in the instructions, it like demonstrates which part is used for what and how you're using it in everyday life.
Yeah. Yeah, we have this image of students today, as your teacher said, just everything is online, everything is digital, everything is virtual, but it must feel in some ways good to, feel your hands around an object. And
And
yeah,
so it was very fun.
And it
Yeah.
was nice to see the laptops put away for a while. And the cell phones only came out when they were taking pictures, to post on their own social media pages. So that as a teacher in this digital age, it was nice to see. It was really nice to see them.
yeah, that's great. I know you just started, Deanna, with using this system, but any little tips you've picked up along the way or something you'd discovered that you'd share with other teachers that are just starting to use this?
One thing I did discover, it was easier for me to use the resources that were more inclusive, that included the diseases, such as the Alzheimer's resource. But then there's also one on arthritis. To start there, that was easier for me because I wanted to bring meaning to students. And in doing so, they had a disease or a focus as they were building, and they were working toward and making the connections. That is one thing I found that was easiest for me. The resources are very detailed. So going through the resources prior to working with your students would be helpful, to make sure that they understand the language, and a lot of times how to pronounce some of the muscular, excuse me, I'm nervous, how to pronounce some of the organs and parts. And so they are able to, I like to type it into Google, and so they can understand how to pronounce it, because I want students to not only be able to read these large scientific words, but also to pronounce them, because they will be in the field and they will be using some of the terminology. So yes,
Yeah, and there's more than a few anatomical terms. There's more than a few.
it's quite a lot. It's quite a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on that, Lili or Jacqueline?
No, not other than, just it being really fun, and it being really refreshing to like not really be on our laptops at all, because I was actually glad that we weren't on our laptops, because I don't know, it's just always constantly doing digital work. It does get tiring. Just as anything would when you're constantly doing it every day.
Yeah. I don't mean to put you, Lili and Jacqueline, on the spot, but is there one sort of insight around human anatomy, whether it's a shoulder issue or the human heart, something that surprised you?
No, not really, not anything that I can really say, or not anything that really comes to mind at the moment.
Yeah, yeah,
But
that's a tough one to
yeah.
answer right off the bat. Yep. Any favorite component or part that you enjoy teaching, Deanna, whether it's on anatomy and clay or otherwise?
Um, I really enjoyed the nervous system, and the reason why is it's such a complex organ system, and to be able to break it down into something that students were able to easily digest was great for me. And I see our human body as a perfect machine, and that their brain is really just the hub of all of our of all the inner workings. And so being able to take such a huge um, topic and make it more digestible for students, I really enjoyed that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. how many mannequin models do you have? Do you have a situation where you're sharing among a couple of students, or does every student have their own mannequin?
Our school was fortunate to purchase, we have 14 mannequin models. So I had students working in pairs. And they wanted to work in pairs. I do have students at times that want to work alone, but thankfully we had enough models to have students work in pairs. And this is for 2 groups, so we did 2 blocks of students.
I got you. Yeah, I got you. Very good. Well, it sounds like it's getting integrated. I mean, this is where, so we're
Yes.
talking April. You just started using it maybe in January or so?
Early March.
Oh, early March. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're only a few weeks into the experience here.
Yeah.
And
So that's why we're continuously building. And it is a work in progress.
yeah, but it sounds like it's going to stick.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. And so they're sophomores. Next year, would they be taking courses that would give them another opportunity to engage with anatomy and clay, or as seniors, or how is your curriculum map kind of drawn out?
So actually, the curriculum map is human anatomy and physiology should be taken by juniors and seniors, but they had already met the prerequisites. So they are, most of my students are juniors and seniors. And so these are 2 sophomores. When I mentioned that
Overachieve.
we were doing the podcast, right, they wanted to be a part of it. And so, and I agreed to that. So most of them are juniors and seniors. They will take health science 2.
No, we
Oh, you already took it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I guess now is college level science courses,
just have chemistry.
chemistry and college level science courses. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So this is going to be pretty much it for them.
for
in terms
them, yes,
yeah.
yes. But they have a great jump start, and it'll be good for them to talk to other students that are going to take the class in the future, because human anatomy and physiology at our school is an elective, and so it's not a required course. But of course, as with anything, we want to get as many students to take these elective courses. If they decide to take anatomy at the college level, they are welcome to do that. They already have a good foundation now. And of course, I'll be here if they have any questions as they're working through with their college professors and their labs there. So it'll be good. It's a great foundation for these students because they are continuing on their education. If we were at a traditional high school, this will be a great hands-on opportunity that is more inclusive, that gives students an opportunity to really have an experience that they otherwise may not get.
Yeah. Well, I've got one last question for the students before we kind of wrap up here. And it's not an anatomy and clay question, but I'd like to ask Lili and Jacqueline, maybe starting with Lili, what gives you your drive? Where did you get your drive to, really commit yourself to this?
Well, mostly from my parents because my dad, my mom, neither of my parents finished like college. They finished high school, but they didn't finish college. So just telling my parents, especially when I did tell them that I was gonna even be applying here, it was just like a very like it was just a very bittersweet moment because of the fact that my parents never got that opportunity because of things that blocked their road in their life. So my drive for me is basically making my parents proud and just basically doing what my parents would have loved to do.
That's awesome. Jacqueline?
Also what Lily said, because my parents, my mom, she's the only person that finished school, like high school, but my dad didn't get to finish middle school or anything because of certain things that were going back on home. And my siblings didn't really get the opportunities like how I did to apply for this school. I know my brother, like I know he would have loved it here, and my sister, she would have been okay with it. But I think like my biggest like motivation is most definitely like my family because I know like they didn't get the opportunity for like how I did to sign up for this school. And I also wanted to work in the medical field because I get to help like my family when it comes to like their medical problems or something. I'm like, oh yeah, I got you.
Yeah, it's just that clarity, knowing that we're doing something that, you know, our parents never got to do, whether that's based on like, you know, their education level, whether it was just, you know, not right in the cards for them, or, you know, they just weren't able to. But yeah, for me, it's definitely, my drive is definitely my dad, because my dad came here not knowing English or anything, and his main, you know, motivation to me is like, you know, like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, you have to at least take the opportunity, you know, because I know he would have if he were in my shoes.
Oh, I love that.
I know.
Wow, I know. That's, yeah. Deanna, I think you might have your dream job also.
I do. This is I'm trying not to get too emotional. I can't wait to play this back for them when they graduate high school at this moment. This is a great moment as a teacher. But this school is I've taught an enormous amount of great kids over the years. As a veteran teacher, especially teaching for over 20 years, you know, as teachers, we start to feel a little fatigue. And so this being here at this school has given me life back. It has continued to nurture my heart and the gift that I have as a teacher. And so I'm in a great place with great students. We have great leadership here with our principal, Keisha Brown, and the staff and faculty here. It's a great place, and a place where they invest money into student learning. And so buying a system such as Anatomy and Clay for student learning, I didn't even have to anything the students need, our leadership finds a way. Parents donate. It's amazing. It's really amazing.
We also have events to raise money.
Yeah, they're telling me that we have events to raise money, and I mean, the kids they'll do internships in the health sciences fields as well, volunteerism, visiting other college campuses. It's job shadowing. It's an amazing place.
Wow. What a terrific story you all tell about your school and your programs. This has been absolutely fantastic. Jacqueline Murillo, Lili Gonzalez, and Deanna Wynn, thank you so much for your time today. And thanks again for your photos on Twitter. We'll follow you on social media, and we'll certainly wish all three of you the best going forward.
Thank you so much. You're very welcome.